You know that feeling when you scroll through a sea of gaming PCs, see those glossy renders, read the hype about ready for VR, and think you've finally found the perfect rig only to set it up and discover it struggles with the games you actually play? I've been there, and it's why I'm diving into this review, to help you dodge the disappointment and spend your money on a system that actually fits your setup. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The CyberpowerPC Gamer Xtreme VR is marketed as an entry-level plug-and-play machine that can handle modern titles at 1080p and even step into VR for the first few experiences. On paper, it looks solid. A mid-range Intel i5, a GTX 1660 Super, 8 GB of RAM, and a 500 GB NVMe SSD. Those components are common in budget builds, but the real question is how they behave when you plug the box into your monitor, fire up a game, and leave it on for a few hours. That's where I spent a couple of evenings testing it in a typical gamer's environment. A 27-inch 144Hz panel, a decent headset, and a couple of the most demanding titles I own. First off, the out-of-the-box experience is surprisingly smooth. CyberpowerPC ships the system pre-assembled, which saves you the headache of building a PC yourself. The case opens up without any stubborn thumbscrews, the cables are already tied down, and the Wi-Fi antenna is already attached to the back. For anyone who doesn't want to tinker with PSU connections or worry about static, that's a genuine plus. The Windows 10 Home installation boots in under a minute, and the system recognizes the SSD right away, no driver hunting needed. When I launched Cyberpunk 2077 at medium settings, the GTX 1660 Super held a steady 58 frames per second on my 1080p panel. That's respectable for a card in this price tier, and it means you can actually enjoy the game without constantly dropping to the lowest settings. In Valorant and Fortnite, I was easily above 120 frames per second, which is more than enough for competitive play. The RTX ray tracing features aren't present, but the card still delivers clean images with good texture quality. For most casual gamers who aren't chasing 4K or ultra-high refresh rates, the performance matches the headline promises. The SSD is where the system feels the most immediate. Loading Apex Legends took about 12 seconds from desktop to match, noticeably faster than the 30+ seconds you see on a traditional HDD. That speed translates into less waiting time when you're swapping between games or pulling up mods. The 500 GB capacity, however, can feel cramped once you start adding a few large titles and a couple of creative suites. If you plan to keep a library of AAA games, you'll probably need an external drive or a future internal upgrade. Now, let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The 8 GB of DDR4 RAM is technically enough for many games today, but it's also the bottleneck when you push the system with background streaming software, Discord, and a web browser open at the same time. I noticed a slight stutter in Assassin's Creed Valhalla when I had a YouTube tutorial running in the background. The frame rate dipped into the high 30s before stabilizing. Upgrading to 16 GB would smooth those multitasking scenarios, and the motherboard does support it, but you'll have to purchase the sticks separately. Thermal performance is another practical point. The case uses a single 120mm front intake fan and a rear exhaust, which keeps the CPU temperatures hovering around 70°C under load. That's safe, but not especially quiet. The fans ramp up noticeably during long gaming sessions, and the case itself acts like a small speaker. If you're gaming late at night or in a shared living space, the audible fan noise could become a mild annoyance. It's not a hardware failure, just a design compromise that budget rigs often make to keep costs down. Connectivity is solid for the price. The machine comes with Wi-Fi 5, 802.11ac, and Bluetooth 5.0, so you can connect a headset without extra dongles. The rear I/O panel includes a mix of USB-C, USB-A, HDMI, and DisplayPort, meaning you can hook up a monitor and a VR headset simultaneously without needing a hub. I tested the Wi-Fi on a 5 GHz network and got stable 150 megabits per second speeds, which is plenty for game downloads and streaming. If you need Ethernet, there's a gigabit port right there as well. Who should consider buying the Gamer Xtreme VR? If you're a beginner to PC gaming, or someone upgrading from an older laptop, this system gives you a ready-made entry point without the guesswork of component compatibility. It's also a good fit for students who need a decent workstation for both gaming and coursework, thanks to the pre-installed Windows and decent SSD speed. The free lifetime tech support from CyberpowerPC adds a safety net if you run into driver quirks or need a quick BIOS update. Who should skip it? If you already own a higher refresh rate monitor and want to push 144 frames per second or higher consistently, the GTX 1660 Super will start to limit you, and you'll likely feel the